Hi there. I am starting up the class right now. This is the class for Tuesday, July 7th, and I'm just letting people into the waiting room into the main class right now.
Hello.
Hi. How you guys doing?
Hello.
Good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Okay.
All right, we got a kitchen.
It's my kitchen, and I screwed up the whenever I tried to wash the thing.
I can't hear you when you're over there.
How about now?
Yeah, now.
I screwed up something. I put the wrong cleaner on it. So glad everyone can see that.
Yeah, I can only really hear you when you're in front of the computer.
Interesting.
Yeah, right there is perfect.
No idea. Anyways, I put the wrong cleaner on the fridge, which everyone can see.
I do that stuff all the time.
God, I was just saying, not a domestic goddess. That's what a friend said to me a long time ago. And I was like, shit. I used to have the Northern Lights as a background, so no one, you know what? I could turn my video off. Then it's not there, right?
Hello, Alma.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. Good, thank you. How are you all?
Good, thanks.
Good.
Very good.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Sorry, I have my kids for the first 30 minutes of the class. Myself.
Is there a little baby happening somewhere?
Yes. Can you hear me?
It sure
Sorry,
sounds like a little baby.
I have my two kids for the first 30 minutes of the class.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna mute myself and then they should be done in like 20 minutes.
Okay. How are you doing, Carolina?
Sorry, my mic wasn't working. I'm doing good. How about you?
Good. Are you a U of A student? Let's see. I know you graduated. Are you going to take any more U of A classes this semester, next semester, or?
I haven't taken any UA classes.
Oh, you haven't taken any. Okay. I'm sorry. I was confusing you with another student. Are, uh, Oh, I guess what I was thinking was when we saw the big the big A in the background, but that wasn't in your house, right?
No.
Okay. Well, speaking about the university, are you thinking of going to the university after Pima, or?
Maybe that's part of my plan.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
what do you want to study?
The same thing, digital arts.
Digital arts.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What do you want to be when you grow up?
An animator for a popular channel or something.
Oh, cool. And do you do animation now?
I just started. I usually do just traditional drawings.
And do you think we'll ever get to see any of your animation in our weekly show and tell?
Oh yeah, because I don't know how to make an animation.
Okay.
I'll try eventually.
Okay. Well, maybe when we get to Photoshop, you know what animated GIFs are?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Photoshop, you can make animated GIFs, so maybe we'll do some of that.
Okay, cool.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I know it sounded like the authorities were coming to take us away. That's my phone. It rings on my computer. I guess there must be a way to stop it. Maybe I could tell it I'm driving or something. What do you think?
Yeah, airplane mode or something.
Yeah, okay, let's try airplane mode.
You can do not disturb as well.
Let's see, airplane mode on. Okay, so now I won't get any phone calls, hopefully. And maybe when we're done, I'll be in Cincinnati. Okay. Well, hello everybody. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Good, good. Did you guys get any cool ideas for making masks?
I somewhat did. Not nothing really too serious, but I had an idea.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
nothing.
have a couple of different ideas. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, that's all we really need for today is some ideas, some sketches. So maybe we'll start off with that.
Mhm.
So let me first get into the attendance taking, and then we'll go ahead and look at the folders and see what you guys have for your ideas.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. My Pima. Got to get to the attendance screen here. Right. Okay. All right, so I see Luca Beta is here, Mia's here, Claudia's here, Alma's here, Luke Cotrella's here, Adrian's here, Serena's here, Yee's here, Milo's here, Diego is here, Kim is here. Kim is here 3 or 4 times. Let's see, Robin is here, Brianna.
Finally, it loads.
I don't see Brianna, and I think she told me she had to work today. Okay, and then Cynthia is here, and Carolina. Okay, cool. All right, so now let me go into the folder, and then I'll share my screen so we can look at everybody's cool stuff.
Oops.
Do you like my ceiling? It's very pretty.
I will tell you in one moment because I can't see it right now. I'm looking in the folder.
It's okay. I'm bringing my camera back down.
Oh wait, hold on. Yeah, just give me a second. I'm almost there. Trying to open the folder of love.
I thought it looked nice, Kim.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm back, Kim. Show me
You
again.
want to see the ceiling?
Yeah.
I can do that. I can do that.
Here's mine.
I don't get it.
I want to play.
Did you paint it?
No, my camera was just tilted up
Oh,
because I didn't realize how far back I had opened my laptop.
okay. Lovely. Okay, cool. Well, why don't we start out? I'm going to go ahead and share the screen, and then we'll take a look in your folders and see what kind of ideas you guys have for the masks. All right, sharing the screen, share. All right, this can be minimized. Actually, let me
Oh, that's what I forgot. Thank you.
go ahead. Oh, to minimize me. Let's see, chat. Okay, we got a little chat there. And then participants, yes, we have that as well. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna start at the top here. Diego, you jumped up to the top. So let me open that.
I was about to upload my image right now because
Yeah,
I was
okay. All right, we'll
sending
come
it
back.
to my email. Yeah, thank
We'll
you.
come back. Cynthia, have you got anything in there we can look at for a sketch?
Not yet. I was working on the flyer and the logo.
Oh, so you haven't made a sketch yet?
No.
Okay.
I have ideas, but I haven't really I'm not really I haven't put them on the template.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll give you guys some time today to work on that stuff then.
Okay.
Carolina, anything from you?
Yes, I have one of my ideas on there.
All right. So now all I need is for my Macintosh to work, which is apparently asking a lot. I'm clicking on this folder like 37 times and nothing's opening. Open with. What if I just want to open the folder like by clicking on it, Mr. Macintosh? How could something work every time you use it, and then the one time you go in when people are watching it doesn't work? Someone
A
explain.
mystery.
That is a mystery. Open with. What do I have to do? What do I have to do to open this? Move to make a copy. What if I just want to open it? Oh, sorry guys. My Mac's just being super weird right now. Or it might not be my Mac. It might be Pima's weirdo server. I gotta blame something that's not me. Yeah, I'm double clicking on this and nothing's happening. All right. Give me a second, guys. Entertain. Talk amongst yourselves. Let me figure out what the hell is going on with this crazy folder.
If we're kidding ourselves, I will say right now that sorry, let me rephrase. I'm currently there are people over in my house that are I'd say working on the Wi-Fi, so maybe it might accidentally be not good at some points. Not sure.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Luke. I appreciate you letting us know that.
Yeah.
Okay. I did manage to get into Caroline's folder here. And should I assume it's this mask flower, Carolina? Okay. Okay. So anyone want to give Caroline some feedback on this design?
I don't see it.
It looks very cute, actually.
Yeah.
It does look really nice, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like a sunflower, but
the
it's a
file.
really nice flowers with the clouds.
I see a picture of Diego. Oh, there it is.
It's very cute.
She's putting Diego's picture on the mask.
Yep, that's me. Yep.
Good idea.
That would be a
Maybe
really
the big-
that would be a really cute mask, actually. Yeah, I think it looks great. Anybody have any suggestions for?
A little black dot showing near the.
Yeah, I was about to ask about that. Was that
Yeah,
black
there's a little dot there. You might want to check into what the heck that is.
It appeared out of nowhere. I really don't know what that is.
Okay. Yeah, what I usually do when something like that happens is I click on the eyeballs of different layers to see which layer it's on, and then I can kind of isolate it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
What I think it's really cute. One suggestion I have for you guys is make your artwork fill up the whole rectangle. You can turn this this template of the oval on to see what the actual mask will be, but you actually need to fill up the whole rectangle because there's something called bleed.
Mm-hmm.
Can someone explain what bleed is?
I think bleed is like the overset of it, with the limitations for it to print out on, like, I don't know how to fully explain it, but it's just like the offset of what's printed so that you know that you can get more instead of losing less.
In case
Right.
you could, in case the mask moved a little bit, that it would have some extra color around the edges to.
Yeah, they're both correct. Basically, when you print anything in a physical format, whether it's paper or a plastic mask or whatever, there's a little bit of movement on the press. You know, the thing doesn't stay perfectly still because it's on a board or a flat surface, but that board is being moved by the vibration of the press, and then the print head comes down and it moves slightly too. So what that means is, if you don't do a bleed, which once again I'll define as taking your artwork all the way to the edge of the document, then what you might end up with is a stripe of white on the edge of your mask here, because the print head moved out, and since there was no artwork there, it didn't print anything, so you have white. So you want to take like this blue sky and the clouds and the sunflowers, and you want to continue them all the way to the edge of your document. Then you can turn this little mask oval on and off, like I said, to see what it's going to look like. But, make sure you have your art going all the way to the edges. Now, don't sunflowers have those like sort of big black dotty things in the middle of them?
Yeah. I don't think it's
Right.
supposed to be a sunflower. It's what I
Oh.
said, and because it looks like it, but I
Okay.
like the use of the shapes that it's being used to say it's a sunflower.
Yeah, and I don't know that necessarily big black dots in there would necessarily help it. I mean,
It looks like a daisy to me.
it might be a daisy, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the simplicity of it. I don't think we need to add the black dots. We have one right here if we need one.
All right. Plenty.
I just didn't know how to add little tiny bits of them.
Little tiny.
But I want to do it one by one.
Oh yeah, so
That one.
I can show you one way to do that. So, like, let's say that you wanted to make black dots out of circles or something, right?
Mhm.
So you go to your ellipse tool, you make your fill color black, you hold down your shift key and you make a circle. Now I'm going to make this kind of big so you can see it. And then what you can do, and this is the greatest way to copy things in the world, is on a Macintosh, you hold down your Option key. On a PC, you hold down the Alt key. And then you just click on the item and you just drag it out. And that makes another one, right? Now with Illustrator, the cool thing is there's a command called Command D or Control D, and that will repeat the last action that you did. So if I just dragged one copy of this black dot down and I do Command D, it'll drag another copy down and another, right? So I can make
Did
a
you
whole,
say, sorry, did you say Command D or Command B as in boy?
D is in dog.
D as in dog. All right,
Yeah.
got it.
So after you do that, you know, like let's say that we wanted to fill a whole circular area with these circles, right? So I'll just go ahead and make a circle here that we're trying to fill, right? And I'll lock that down, object, lock selection, right? So let's say that my goal is to fill this circular area with these circles, right? So I come over here, let me see, I'm probably gonna need about one more. Okay, so now what I can do is copy all of this, hold down my Option key or Alt on the PC, click on it and just drag it over to the left, right? And hold my Shift key down while I'm dragging it so it drags in a straight line. Then if I do Command D as in dog, it's gonna make another one and then another one, right? And now I can grab all this stuff and move it over. I can grab this last row, hold down my Option key, click on it, hold down my Shift key to make it go straight and do that, right? So now I've got a bunch of dots which could be inside of my circle, right? Now, if I want to make it so that I only see the dots that are inside the circle and I don't see the dots that are outside of it, I can do something called making a clipping mask. And I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but it won't hurt you guys to know this in advance. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to Object and Unlock All, which is going to take my big circle and unlock it. It was at the back, right? Now I'm going to take this big circle and I'm going to fill it with a color. And it doesn't matter what color I use, I'm just going to fill it, right? And I'm also, this is going to sound weird, but I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it in place right on top of the original. Okay, now I have two circles here. I'm going to take one of them and take the fill out of it so it's just a stroke. And this will make sense in just a second. And then I'm going to lock that one. So what we have here is we have one big circle filled with black. We have an outline of this circle, a black outline of the circle, which is locked, and we have all of the other circles. Now, if I grab everything, which is of course everything except for the locked outline of the circle, I can go to this command, Object, Clipping Mask, Make. And what it does is it takes the top shape, and it doesn't matter what shape it is, you can make a clipping mask out of any shape. It takes the top shape, which is a filled circle, and it clips out everything outside the filled circle. But during that process, it also destroys the circle, which explains why I made a copy of the circle, turned it into an outline, and locked it to the document here, right? So now everything outside this circle is hidden, is clipped out, and it's like it makes a window, a circular window that only shows what's inside of it. So now I could say Object Unlock All, which unlocks my circular frame there, and I could even take my stroke settings here and pull those up so that I get something like this, right? So now this is not necessarily what you would want in those flowers or whatever, but it shows you several different things, you know, how to quickly copy things with the Option or the Alt command, how to repeat your last command by doing Command D or Control D, and then how to make a clipping mask by filling an object with a color, selecting that and everything underneath it, and then just going Object Clipping Mask Make, and it will clip everything else out. Now, if you ever want to go in here and edit this stuff that's in here, you can undo a clipping mask. And so if I click on this and I go Object Clipping Mask Release, it will get rid of the clipping mask, but I can also go Clipping Mask Edit Contents. And now it's showing me those extra circles. Like, let's say I wanted to move one of these little circles more in or get rid of it, I could do that. But if I wanted to get rid of the clipping mask and go back to my original, I just go Object Clipping Mask Release, and now we're back to square one, right? So once again, this is jumping ahead a little bit, but I'm just giving you kind of a preview of some of the stuff that we're going to be able to do. And it's pretty powerful. I do use this very regularly. Okay, any questions about clipping masks or any of that stuff I just did? Okay, so let's look at some more of your sketches. I like this one, Caroline. Nice job. I don't know if it's Pima or my internet or whatever, but things are moving kind of slow today. Okay, Kim, can we look at your mask sketches?
I mean, if you really want to.
Or can we just look at your roof?
I mean, I can do that too. No.
Okay.
These are more interesting.
Okay, so do you want to describe to us a little bit of what's going on here?
So I actually just did like the spider web one that's up at the top because I thought it'd be cool. I don't know how I'm going to connect them properly. That's why it's kind of all messy and fast. The other one, I had this really cool space idea, but I can't blend colors together, and I hate when I can't do that. So now it's just a matter of, okay, do I really want to do this still?
So in other words,
two little people looking up at the stars. Imagine all the white as just like a whole bunch of stars and not I scribbled.
I think it's cute, and I like the spider one too.
Yeah, I like the silhouette that could be used for like the people, you know.
The silhouette would be very nice, I think.
yeah. Now, when you say you can't blend colors into each other, you mean you can't do it in a Photoshoppy kind of way?
Yeah.
Now, you know you can create gradients in Illustrator?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you want to look at my logo design, I've used gradients there.
What about where you selected and did paint bucket?
What about the paint bucket?
You couldn't paint bucket those freeform shapes?
Well,
I'm not going to lie. I completely forgot that was a thing we could do.
Oh, okay.
Just drew in.
Okay. Yeah, so that's fine. All right, well, yeah, we can look at your logo and see your gradients.
Could you leave it the way it was and just add a background layer, a color, because it's kind of cool the way it's kind of organically drawn?
Let me go back there.
You know, put a background color, just a light, I don't know what, or the stars.
Because it's very cool colors that you're using, so having
Yeah,
a consistent one would be nice.
Instead of the white, it could be, all of that could be on top of a background.
Yeah, just like a dark color or something like that.
And then put the stars on top as another layer, like do two different layers.
Yeah, like if this area, like up at the top was kind of dark, then you could put stars in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like my plan was to have it like littered with stars. It's just for the sketch. I didn't really go all in.
Yeah, it's just a concept, yeah.
Did a gradient background behind it and then 3 stars.
That'd be cool.
I think my Star Party thing is sort of like that.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I mean, You could look at it, but
Okay.
I like the spider web one. It almost looks like it's almost just like breaking apart or something.
Huh.
mm-hmm.
Or two webs trying to mash in together for some reason. Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it looks good. And, you know, whether you wanted to, I mean, I know this is a concept, and if you wanted to take it and further develop the art so it's more sophisticated, that's fine. But it also, as someone mentioned, it also kind of looks good as just almost this level of art, which is just kind of sketchy and fun.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's adorable.
And I really, someone mentioned they like the spider web. I really like it too. I think it's, I can just picture it looking really good as a mask on somebody, you know? Okay, those are really interesting.
I also uploaded my two photos for my math, so
That
we'll
was,
get back to that.
okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the mask and then the sea turtle.
Okay, so mask is one.
I just started to stay with the stick figure project that I'm used to with my right hand. So I just started to plop together different, like, not facial expressions, but like different like figures to put it all mashed together. Like
What do you guys think?
like a what's it called, a sticker, like a sticker collage.
Okay.
I
That
like
is
it.
so
Like,
cute.
I really like it. I wish there was a background color though.
Yeah, it's basic, but I want to put in like little references, but I just haven't colored them to like make them into a full reference.
That one looks like that you could grab the shapes, couldn't you, Professor? Grab the shapes and color the faces like slightly, just a couple of them or something if you.
Well, yeah, you could use that paint bucket tool to make them live paint areas and then just click on them, fill them with color.
Mm-hmm.
How did you trace a abstract shape again?
How,
To
what?
fill it?
How do you
How
do
did you grab an abstract outline to fill it? I forgot.
So if you have a shape, you have to make sure it's closed. And then you click on it. Let's see, select it. We go to the live paint bucket. And we click on it, and that makes it a live paint group. And then we can fill it with a color like that. And for some reason, it always takes the stroke and really messes with the stroke. I guess what happens is, I guess that's what that warning was all about. It basically kills the stroke when it's like, you know how the strokes that are done with the paintbrush are kind of weird, like sometimes they can be thinner or thicker.
Yeah.
It basically takes the stroke and just turns into a 1-point stroke. So you could even turn that off, and you could have your black outlines on a separate layer. Like you could duplicate the layer first, and like let's say that I really wanted to keep that black outline. So let's pretend that what I had done first was I had, you know, drawn my black outline that looks kind of like that, and then I put this on a separate layer, right? I made a duplicate of it. Then I could turn one of the layers into live paint area, and then the other layer would basically just be the black outline sitting on top of it, you know, but they'd be the exact same size.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go back to your drawing here. Okay, any other feedback or comments on this?
Nope.
I think it's really cool. Have you considered, I mean, I know it's at a sketch level now, but have you considered maybe taking about 50% of those faces out just to add more sort of negative space?
Yeah, I thought about either having that negative space be filled, but I just haven't added the full background color yet for it to just be stable enough to look at all the faces, you know?
I had another thought too. When I was doing this star thing on the star party thing, a couple of my stars went over the line, we'll call it. So you got like half of a face or whatever. And then it didn't seem so empty on the very edges. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. You take something and run it off the edge so you can only see part of it.
Yeah, I mean, it was just another effect, but I kind of liked it. It's
Okay.
maybe if we open that Star Party thing later, you can see it.
Yeah, we'll definitely take a look at it.
I do
Yeah.
have one more, which is the sea turtle, but it's just a quick sketch. It was like an idea that I had.
Can we see it?
Okay, yeah. One last comment on this. I think when you're finished with it, it would make a really nice sticker as well as a mask.
Yeah.
Okay. And sea turtle.
I would leave some of them white and some of them colored because they're kind of fun like that. Ooh.
Yeah, this is all in Sharpie. So I don't really, it's not like colors are an issue. It's just like I try to represent a sea turtle as I could.
Great.
So once I learn how to once I get a trackpad for my left hand, I'll be able to do this type of stuff.
Question, is a trackpad something that people use for art?
Well, specifically for me, I'm left-handed. It would just be a lot easier for me to draw on the trackpad than to use my right hand the whole time. Because I've been doing that for a couple classes, but I just want to try something different, you know?
Yeah.
It looks great. It's really attractive.
You just need to add just more details.
Do you think maybe a light blue background color or?
Yeah, I think a light blue would definitely work. It's just the way that I try to represent it, and the Sharpies would just bleed a lot of different elements together, and I didn't want it to, so.
Okay.
Maybe
Yeah,
try and add some kind of like jagged horizon line with like coral and stuff.
Yeah,
or whatever.
I
don't
think that's a
know,
really
some
good
kind of
idea. I haven't thought about that.
seascape.
Yeah. Very nice. And you can do a lot with depth in this, like the whole concept about foreground, midground, and background. Like the water is going to be the background, and then the turtle and the eggs are the midground. But you could have one of these little plants be sort of in front.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to illustrate is the depth between like, oh, the seaweed is up close, and then there's seaweed in the far back from the turtle between the eggs.
Yeah. So since you're gonna let's see, since your mask is like this kind of format or whatever, you're gonna have to move these seaweed plants up here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know it's only a limit to like what the mask can hold, but it's just I'm trying to fill it to see what I can fit in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You're just sketching. But yeah, they're both really great, really nice.
Yeah, I like the sea turtle one.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if you guys have more than one good idea, please do them. Please make them.
For sure.
Okay.
But thank you though. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see. So that was okay. We jumped up there.
We're on
We
Luke
went to Kim.
Abeta.
So, Luke Abeta, have you got anything sketched out yet?
Yes. Keep in mind when you see it that it's literally a sketch from my sketchbook, so I didn't put any color in it.
Okay, not a problem. It's this one that's called whatever.jpg.
Yeah.
Hope so.
Ooh.
Oh man,
Fantasy like.
that is super fun.
This is like saying I have bad breath.
That's awesome. And I would let you go first in line if you were like it.
Yeah, that's like wow. I just think it's gorgeous. I can't wait to see this thing. And are you going to do it in color?
Well, yeah, of course. Like it wouldn't make sense if it wasn't in color. Literally all of my sketches do not involve color at all.
Is there some appeal to it not being in color? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I think though in color it'll really jump out at you because he can differentiate this little character from the background. And
Yeah. You can make it like a dark, like I don't know how to say it, but like a dark persona in the background of the mouth, and then have like the main like character in the middle be like a very like strong color,
Right.
it's kind of its own. It's like an old-fashioned comic book that didn't have much color to it. I don't know how to say it, but it's kind of subtle and interesting
Yeah.
the way it is. I don't know. I mean, what do you call that? Grayscale, pen and ink. I don't know what you call that, but
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's kind of like a grayscale style of art.
Like, yeah,
yes,
like
it's retro
graphite.
minimal.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's valid as a piece of art the way it is. And he can also do a color version and do whichever one he wants, or do both of them.
Yeah, do both.
That'd be cool if it was like a dragon. I don't know. I pictured a dragon instead of like a lizard.
You mean the mouth is a dragon?
Yeah, the big mouth has like a dragon. And then
Yeah, because I see his
something-
nose, his nostrils, his little. I like that little.
I just love this little guy in here. You know, so cute.
I think his name is coronavirus.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's one of the things that that's one of the subtexts that you get from this image is like this guy. You know, in fact, you could debate whether or not this would be a good idea to wear this mask because people might think, hey, maybe something's wrong with this guy.
It's like, what, yeah, like I was thinking, like, what if the mask is a warning sign that, hey, I'm infected?
Yeah. What if this?
I got a little
What if
demon in my
this is a
mouth?
mask they give to people who test positive or something?
That's true.
When I designed this, I might have not have thought about. I might have brushed over the fact that this would be worn in public.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it's one of those things that maybe like hot topic edgy, if you understand me.
Yeah, I understand.
It would be like pranksters or edgelords that.
Yeah.
You know.
I have to be honest. If I saw this mask on a rack, I would be tempted to buy it because I think it's adorable.
I mean,
yeah.
Don't want to make anything that isn't.
Yeah. Hey. All
But
right.
hey, it's a good concept. I like it.
Yeah. Excellent.
Great.
All right. Let's see. So Brianna's not here. Serena, Arena, you said you had something, right?
I do. I had to update it a couple times, but I have something.
All right. Ooh. Wow. Now, before you tell us what that is, does anybody have any interpretation of this?
Valentine's?
I mean, they look like cherry blossoms.
They are cherry blossoms.
Wow.
Got it.
Ooh, he had a tree on there. Ooh.
You win.
That's my plan. And my plan was to probably put like a tree in the background or like maybe next to them. I don't know. I still have something in mind, but
yeah. I like this vision that's happening right now.
Yeah. So are you thinking the tree would be like black, like that black calligraphic ink, or?
That would be a good idea.
Okay.
Personally, I was just thinking of it just like something you'd see like in one of those animes, just like a simple brown old cherry blossom tree just in the background or something.
Next to a lake or something like that.
Or
Yeah.
maybe you can show like a little branch popping out just.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
That's what I'm
add
thinking.
like some small, like full flowers instead of just petals.
True. Yeah.
That is true. I'll do that.
To me, because I spent so much time in the woods as a kid, it looks like little deer footprints.
Little deer
deer
Oh,
hooves, yeah.
I can see that.
Possibly putting one flower might.
Or
take my-
alien. It could be little aliens.
Yeah, eyeless aliens. I've seen those.
It's those creatures we talked about yesterday.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, paint heads. Remember?
The paint heads.
These are their footprints.
Oh no.
They're on to us.
Well, you know what you may want to do, Rena, is if you like some of these ideas and you want to combine them with some of your ideas, just put things on different layers. Like one layer with more flowers, one layer with a tree, and then you can turn them on and off and see how they look together.
Oh yeah, I've been layering this as much as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
I love the shading. Elegant.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I guess my only like critical complaint about this is that I feel that the pink compared to the pink gradient is kind of clashing to each other.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. So I either have to like lighten up the pink or darken up the petals or.
Yeah, increase the contrast.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, Milo, have you got anything in there?
Yeah, I did like a Halloween one in case we're still wearing them in Halloween.
Oh, that's a sick idea.
Yes.
Because I know I'm going to Halloween.
Wow. Creepy.
That's really
Cool.
pretty.
Looks like a bunch of melty eyeballs.
Yeah, that was the goal. Maybe a lot more variation too in color and stuff.
This one on the left, like the bottom left, seems to intrigue me a lot. I don't know what about it. It just seems so. I don't know why I like that.
Thanks.
Have you thought about making them all different colors?
Yeah. I was thinking of doing that next. I was actually starting to, but ran out of time. That's why the one said.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to have them all be one color and one different, but it makes me kind of wish they were all different colors.
But I
like
the red off.
Well, what's the purpose of the eye with red? Is that like a symbolism?
No, I'm probably gonna do colors for all of them, but that's just all I got started with now.
Well, I feel like it would be a good background is that if it was a darker background so that you can have more variation within the eye color, you know?
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
I like the background.
I was gonna recommend eyes. You can draw eyes with certain emotion, you know. So like, maybe you can use colors and emoting and
Yeah, like a good too, like different kind of look. Some look more angry or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, interesting. Because right now you're basically just drawing eyes that are being distorted, but it sounds like he's suggesting maybe you could do some sort of emotion with the eyes.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it is a good idea.
Like the slit.
I was also thinking of doing like a mask with eyes at the bottom and then like an upside down nose. So it's kind of like a reversal of your face.
Ooh.
Okay.
Flips it.
I was trying to do that on my mask, actually. I wanted an inverted face, but I couldn't quite get it.
Nice. Yeah,
I know it would be so, like eyeballs and then like a melded nose. I even measured my nose. I was like, well, let's see, it's like 2 inches. And
if you do an inverted face, wouldn't the person just flip it and it's normal?
I don't know. I just thought it would be funny.
All right, that looks really great. Okay, let me get out of here. Oh, shoot. Oh, damn it. Went the wrong way.
Well, you got out of there.
Yeah, I did get out of there for sure. Okay, Adrian, have you got some stuff in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is I was kind of thinking while I was at Redbubble, I saw that there was a lot of helmet ones, and one that I was thinking would be kind of cool would be like a Trojan type thing that goes like this.
Like that. Ooh, I never thought about a ancient Rome or ancient Greece type of mask. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
And I was also thinking, how can I use the advantages of Illustrator? And so I was thinking, I can add engravings and then add like a cast shadow or a drop shadow, and it will kind of give it the illusion that's popping out like a wheel engraving.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, it's really nice, really clever.
Yeah, and how you can make it symmetrical will be really appealing if it's like depending on what color you use. If you're gonna make it like a gold-like color, that would really stand out as like it's
I was kind of thinking maybe they can be like different colors, like a bronze, a gold, a platinum.
That'd be cool, yeah.
I kind of wonder, I mean, I like your idea about putting the black in there, but I kind of wonder what it would look like if you put in like, part of the face that we would normally see if this was, the mask here, the lips and the part under the nose and the nose. I mean, because you wouldn't really see black there. You'd see somebody's face, right?
Yeah.
Unless of course it was a black. You know how some helmets are really big and it's really dark inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that was kind of the idea.
Yeah, great, which is great, and you could totally do that. You might try putting a drawing of a face on a second layer and see how it looks.
I would ask what type of emotion do you guys would think will look good on it? Like, do you think it should be like a warrior face, like angry, like, or just normal, like stoic?
I think
Solid
stoic.
stoic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stoic?
Just a firm face, like.
Yeah,
It's
like. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, if someone was looking at you, or like if some stranger was looking at you and it saw not like a evil grin, but just like a wide grin on your mask, it would just be a little weird on a Trojan type of mask. It would be better if it was like stoic.
Or here would be an idea. You know, what if different colors had different emotes? Like, for example, let's say there was a dark metal one, and then the dude had it a grin. Or
And
the
then a
face had it
different color would have a different type of emotion.
Yeah, that's my kind of thing.
Make multiple versions. That'd be cool.
Yeah, there's also another sketch I have. I did too.
Ooh, Thanos.
It's a good idea.
It's covering your mouth, huh?
Yeah, like when I do this. So, yes.
I like how mechanical it is. It's just like,
Yeah, I was kind of going for a mechanical look.
Wow.
Would you add the details of it? I think that one would look nice.
That's pretty cool.
Mhm.
The concept's
Definitely.
really interesting. That's covering your mouth.
Yeah, either the Trojan or this hand mask one would be really, really cool to invest in.
Yeah. Although I think this one would be more of a challenge to recreate in Illustrator.
Mm-hmm. I see.
Yeah.
Or maybe not.
Why not try?
Yeah, that's true. It's like if you try, then that's when you get really invested into it.
The challenging things are the worthwhile things.
Yeah.
All the time.
I would say this one will be more of a challenge. So maybe I should go with this one and try, to challenge myself with Illustrator and at least try to nail it. Maybe I will learn something on the way.
That'd be real cool. Yeah. I like that.
My only bad thing is I can't do normal sketches. No, it turns out today my cat dropped my tablet.
Oh my god.
And I wanted to use it because I use it as my second display, and it's not working. So I'm kind of frustrated with the little guy, but he's so cute. Kim, do you know a good brand of tablets?
So if you don't want a crazy expensive one, because like I have the big monitor screen one. Actually, I'll just lift up my laptop. Hang on. Right? So you can see I have a big like display one I can actually draw on it and everything. What was it? The XP Pen 22 Pro. But like the XP Pen in general, like that brand is pretty good.
Yeah, mine was an XP Pen, so I'm kind of thinking maybe to go with that one. I was wondering if anyone knew like another brand to recommend.
For the drawing tablets.
Yeah, because mine broke today.
Oh no, God, that's terrible. Well, I think one of the best ones out there are the Wacom Intuos. So, you know the company Wacom?
Oh yeah, they're like the Apple of drawing tablets.
Yeah, like they have these drawing tablets that they come in different sizes, and the bigger they are, the more expensive they are. And like this little one here, which is about 8 inches by 6 inches, is $80. and then they just kind of go up from there. But you can see like the reviews on this are pretty good, and it's an Amazon choice, and you know, $80 if you have Prime, then that means free delivery. Right here, it looks like if you order it today, you'd get it Thursday. So that's pretty good.
I have a
Yeah, that one's pretty good. I have that one.
Oh, okay.
Reliable. I've had it for like 4 years.
Oh,
it's still going good.
Although I kind of want to get a display one because
Can I
it
ask
just feels
question?
like completely different.
Yeah, no, like I started completing my work way faster when I got the display one versus like the small resting on the desk tablet one.
And you know, once you go display,
Question,
you
you
can't
guys?
go back.
You guys, this is Mia. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have no idea what those things are. What do you mean a display one?
So
It's what Kim showed.
yeah, it's the thing I showed. It's a tablet that you can actually work on. So like it comes with a pen and I can go ahead and I'll just open up the
I
stuff
couldn't see
again.
yours. I still can't
It's
see.
almost like a touch screen, right? It's like you can see the work you're drawing
Yeah,
on,
so I
like,
can
rather
just
than.
draw, if I can bring up the brush, I can just draw directly on it.
That looks like your laptop.
Nope, the laptop was on my shoulder. Like I have just like a small camera that I'm willing to go get and connect. But yeah, no, it's like just the screen and it has pressure sensitivity and everything. I love it.
Okay, so that's the XP pen that was like about $350.
XP Pen Artist 22 Pro. That's what it is.
Okay, thanks you guys. I've never seen those. So
Yeah, me either.
Let's see. I'm on the website right now.
I think I looked the other day when you mentioned that company. It was like $350.
Yeah, like they're not expensive at all. Well, they're not too expensive, I should say.
Yeah, not compared to a Wacom.
Yeah.
So the other one that you draw on, that's $79, you don't see on it?
Right.
There we go.
The other one's a peripheral, so it plugs into your computer. You draw with one hand over here, and then you look at your computer screen in front.
Whoa.
Yeah. So the
You
one
have
I
to
got
get- you
right
have to get
now,
used to it.
I got it while everyone was having their sales, and so I got it for like $350. So right now it's $500, and that's still not bad, especially because it works really well. Sorry, I thought I heard my name. Like, it's really cool. I really like it.
Yeah, there's a number of them out there. There's also the Cintiq, which is ridiculously expensive, but they also have a smaller version that's a little more portable. And of course, there's things like the Surface, Microsoft Surface, and the iPads that you can draw on.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, but the only
Well,
issue is
okay.
that
So I have a couple of stylus pens and an iPad, so I could
But thank you, Nana.
draw on
Me
those.
too. I just don't have it on.
Probably.
It depends.
I'm sure there's probably a way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So Adrian, I took your image here and downloaded it, and then I opened it in Photoshop and copied it and pasted it in Illustrator, and then I did the object image trace, which turns it all into vector lines. So so now this is all inside of Illustrator, and of course you wouldn't want to do this until you were finished with the artwork in Photoshop, but this is one way that you could get the artwork into Illustrator if you wanted to, and then be able to mess with the vector lines, and you could put a background color behind it and all kinds of stuff.
Could you?
oh yeah, I could have just do the line art. Like this was the sketch. I could have done another layer, do a line art, and make it as clean as possible, then scan it.
That would be a good idea.
Can you?
Yeah.
I forgot the steps.
So, well, I haven't really officially shown you this as part of the class, but basically you go into Photoshop and you select the whole document and you copy it. So
We did something similar the other day.
yeah, we did. so you copy it and then you go into Illustrator. I'll put another one down here and you just paste it into Illustrator. And right now it's basically a placed ping file, right? And then what you do is you go under Window, Image Trace, and then you have to change the mode here. Like I want it to be color. I'll go up to 30 different colors, and I can click my preview button here, and it will go through and it will trace it and it'll show me what it'll look like when it's done.
Oh, right. I remember that part. Okay.
And if I like it, then I can uncheck the preview and hit trace. So it takes a while if it's complex art, you know.
Okay.
It's almost done. So, you know, I like the way it looks. So I uncheck preview and I do trace.
Wow.
Now it's vector art. But now if I want to get into the individual vector points, I have to go under Object, Image Trace, and then Expand. And that turns every little bit into its own little vector line, right?
Okay, I remember that. Yeah.
And we'll do some of that. We'll do some of the more advanced stuff later on. Okay. All right, nice job. Those are great. All right, let's see what else we got here. Oh, now I just have to find a folder. Oh, easier said than done. Let's
There's
see.
so much stuff.
I know.
A lot of windows.
I know. I'm really bad. Okay.
Oh, I'm not judging you. I got worse. I had like 50 tabs open at once.
Yeah, I'm that guy, except I have 50 tabs open in like 3 browsers.
That RAM is just dying.
Yeah. Yeah. My computer can't handle that.
Oh, man. I feel those times where it's just like it's chugging.
Yeah. Okay, let's see, go in here. Okay, so Claudia, I know you were still working on some stuff. Do you have anything yet, or do you want us to come back to you?
Oh, not yet. Sorry.
Okay, all right. And then Mia, have you got some stuff in there?
I have one mask.
Okay.
An abstract-y kind of mask.
Abstract-y kind of mask. Is it this mask Mia no clue draft?
Probably. Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I love
Pretty
those
cool.
colors.
Yeah, the colors are very bright with the background. Yeah.
I like that one that just looks like almost some kind of weird, like it's got some texture on it or something, like some kind of spore or sponge.
The one in the middle.
Cool.
I was playing
Yeah,
with
like
it
a little
before.
off to the right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like an effect. I forget what it was called, either sandstone or edge glass or, you know, some crazy thing. And the other one had one too.
It'd be
So-
cool if some of the shapes, if some of the shapes were expanded so that it fills up some of the negative space in the mask.
Well, you know, it's interesting, and I wish you could see my original only had like 3 things. It was a very minimalist Japanese looking. It had like 3 things, and that was it.
Huh.
And so that's actually cluttered compared to the other one. But I think I want to lighten up my background a little. But that's just.
Like a warm color, you thinking?
I think I'm going to stay in the blue, kind of a contrast, but just a little lighter for some reason.
All right. But
Yeah, I really like that
I like
background color.
Yeah, I just like the bright color, the warm color, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, you might try the whole layers thing, and you might try different layers. Like put all the green items on one layer, all the purple on another, and then make duplicates of the layers, and on some of the layers throw a few things away, so you can try different combinations and see what a more minimalistic version of it looks like.
Well, I have a minimalistic version. It's
Okay.
over here. I mean, I could show it to you, but
Okay. Well, if you like where you're going with it, then just keep going. It's a beautiful design.
Like, here's another one if I could figure out how to share it. Well, I'm not going to do it now, but it's basically a white background. Well, should I share it?
Just upload it.
How do I do it? I forget how I did that even.
You can just drag.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. Here, I'll do it right now.
Okay. Let me know when it's there. We'll come back.
It's there.
It's there?
I think so. And that's not even the original, but
Oh, one just got added. I don't know. It's probably
The no big
it's one of the mask ones, yeah.
The one above it, yeah.
Oh, the white. Oh, yeah, this white one.
and there's another one too. New violet. Do you see it? There's two more actually. I think.
Once they upload it, it'll load up. There we go. I think
See,
it was
there's a white one and a bluish one. So it'd be the template. There should be mask no clue and mask template and mask
yeah,
no
I
background.
think the mask template is the new
Template and no background. So that was the original.
one.
And then the no template or the no background, I mean, mask no
The-
BG,
Yeah, no BG.
which I actually like if I could get the background into it.
Mm.
So they were just more minimal. I just been playing with all the features.
Yeah, they're all nice.
Yeah, I really like the first one you showed.
Okay.
All right.
I was going to put him in Redbubble soon and then see how it looks on a mask. I'm just curious about that.
All right. Yeah.
So Robin, did you have any time to work on anything?
Yeah, I've got a quick sketch in there.
Okay, cool.
It's that JPEG.
Ooh.
It's kind of a Silence of the Lambs vibe, but with a moth instead of a butterfly.
Ah, there are mushrooms there. Yeah, all this looks organic. That looks cool.
Yeah, my vision for the color, I want the background to be black and then the moth and the mushrooms to be more like maybe brick reds with dark greens.
You thinking of doing like some sort of watercolor that you used to do?
Ooh, that'd be cool. I don't know how I would do that on Illustrator, but it's a
Yeah.
thought.
I don't know.
I
The
think-
way I was looking at your work.
What if it was the design was filled up more of the space? Does anyone else think that would be cool?
Yeah.
Well, sorry. If you were to watercolor, like just do the whole artwork and then image trace it in and just do it like a high fidelity photo thing, you could probably get away with making that. You can make that work probably
Yeah, you could.
with the colors and everything.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll look into that.
It looks really good. Really nice. Okay. Let's see. Oh God, not again. All right, let's see. Alma, have you got something in there?
Yeah, I got one, but it's just letters and stuff. Seeing all of you guys really fancy. I was thinking to do like a,
No, it's
well, yeah, just do it with like a sky, like with clouds in the back or something like that.
Funny.
I don't know. I kind of like the scribbliness of it. I think it looks really cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
That one's great.
Kind of sad.
Yeah,
It is, yeah. That's why
the
the
truth.
sun is kind
No.
of sad. If you see, it's like a sad sun.
Yeah.
But it looks
Brownie
like it's so
sun.
bright and happy, like the colors and everything. I like that.
I like the way some of the letters, the blue is in some of the letters.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It's nice because it looks very attractive, but it's also a statement, you know.
Yeah.
And it could be, well, I wonder if it could be interpreted multiple ways, or if there's really just one big interpretation for it. What do you guys think?
I think it just makes a whole big picture to make us think about something. So that's why I like about it. Is the statement just kind of makes people think about it.
Yeah, like, I mean, my first reaction was, oh yeah, I'm there with you. Nobody's getting a summer vacation. But it could have other meanings too, you know?
Like never give kids summer vacation, like you hate summer vacation.
That could be another, right. So it's
Okay.
like all good pieces of art, it's open to interpretation, right?
I have a question. Is that blue thing drawn with a brush in the Illustrator program, or?
No, I did it on an iPad.
Okay, and so would you be doing that trace in to get your design into the?
No, I was thinking to start completely on Illustrator and see how I get it done.
Okay. I think somebody had a brush tool. Is that how you would paint like that?
Yeah, there's a brush tool in Illustrator, and you can like you could brush with well, let me see if I can make it. Let's see. You can brush with a color, and then you can change the opacity of that color to make it seem more like sort of semi-transparent, so that you could have some of it go over the letters and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's what I did
My
too.
screen
The
is-
other one.
My screen is not showing the left of the tools again on your.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, so thanks. That's so much better. Can you say that again? How you did that? Sorry.
So all I did was I took my paintbrush tool and I painted. Here, I'll do another color
Thank you.
so we can see them. So here I am doing another color, and you can see that this first color completely covers the second one, right? The one below it. But you can change the opacity on that so that you can see some of it. So now it becomes sort of watercolory.
Wow.
And of course, if you have something like a tablet, like Kim has, a pressure-sensitive tablet, you know, then your pen tool can change depending on how hard you press. And so instead of one solid, you know, stroke, it could be lighter and then thicker, you know, to look even more like real paint. But okay, well, I like where you're going with your design. It'll be nice to see where that ends up in Illustrator.
No, that's pretty.
Okay, that was Alma, and then we have Yi. Let's see. This is your mask right here, Yi. That's pretty funny.
6 feet. Maybe you could just literally 6 feet.
Oh, that's cute. 6 feet, yeah. That's cute. Anybody have any suggestions or ideas for this one?
Reminds me of, I just got back. It just reminds me of the, what's that one album called? You know, it's the iconic album when it's just, if you read this, you're too late to read it. But it's a very, very similar format that's like, hey, it's a play on, a play on design. I like it.
Yeah, I think it looks really good. I wonder what it looked like with like a colored background and maybe this in white, you know?
Oh, wow.
What if the mask is all in black and then the text is all in white?
Yeah, that would look good too.
Hello?
Yeah, hi.
Oh, I just realized I'm talking to nothing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's always fun.
Oh yeah, this is from the Drake's With My Woes song. I just download the font.
Okay, yeah,
I didn't know. Yeah, and I try to parodize his brand as well. His brand has a 6 on it, and it's like a praying hands. Instead of a hand, I just make it into a feet, so it's a 6 feet.
Yeah, it's
So
really
kind of, yeah.
It's really nice. Yeah, I think it's really funny. I mean, it's a takeoff on that bumper sticker, right? The bumper sticker idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that idea was from a rap album idea, so I guess it kind of trickled down to mass.
Somebody I think made the suggestion that maybe you could actually have 6 feet here. You know,
6 feet of it. Yeah, I was thinking about that too, but it's like kind of hard because like 6 feet compressed all together.
yeah. I mean, once again, you could try this in another layer and see what works best. You know.
Yeah, I'll try that.
Okay. And then we were talking about the idea of maybe what if you had something like a black background and have the text in white?
With a white. Yep. I was thinking about that too. But those like, was like the initial thought to it because the original version is like with a white background.
Okay. Oh, I see, because you're making the reference, right?
Yeah, it's like a parody.
Okay, cool. Well, that's great. I like it. I'll have to look up the album. All right, good job. Let's see. And then we have the other Luke. And
one of those, the neoprimal, either any of those.
Okay.
Ooh.
Wow.
It was just some. I was just working on something already, and then you gave us this assignment, and I'm like, all right, I'll just. This kind of goes good with that, so I'll just.
I don't know if you heard me say ooh. I'm not sure which one when I was muted, but my initial was ooh. That's really cool.
Cool. Thanks.
I like the liquefying like effect that there is. It's like a maze, but then it's very liquefied. I don't know how to explain it, but I like the overall design of it.
Is that a design that you did elsewhere and you're gonna trace it in like you?
Oh no, I just did that on Illustrator with the pen tool.
With the pen tool?
Is that what you asked? Did you ask if I did that and then scanned it? No, I just I used the pen tool and just like made a bunch of interlocked squiggles.
Interesting. It looks almost like it's going distorted, like slanted backwards to me.
Yeah,
I didn't really. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't really even mean to do that. I was originally making it on like a square shape, and then I just kind of compressed it into that, and it just so happened to work that way.
I would like that. I always like distorting stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Right?
I think it will look nice with 3M, like a reflective 3M.
3M? What does that mean?
Like a reflector, like it reflects light.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Huh. Like make it have like a sheen to it or something?
Yeah, or shine. You know, like when you have a 3M effect, when you expose it to light, it looks different. It kind of has that like that kind of
I didn't
Yeah,
know
that would be pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now you got a couple more in here, so we're gonna go to the next one.
Yeah, they're just different.
A different version of the same thing. Ooh.
Yeah.
That one's cool looking.
Are those
I like this one.
paint splats or blood dripping? Red one freaked me out a little.
Thanks. Actually, those ones I did image trace. It was like these, like, you know, like after it rains and there's those dirt stains on the side of the sidewalk, you know, and it kind of had those streaks. I took a picture of those one time because I thought they looked really cool, and then I just ended up I've used them like over and over again because if you image trace it in, it's like you get this really cool like natural organic kind of.
I do that all the time.
Pattern.
Yep. With,
super. That's my favorite thing to do with Illustrator.
Leaves, rust, weeds.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, they all look really nice. I guess I'd have to say I'm partial to the one that's just the solid color. I just really like it.
I think I
Cool.
like the other one too, the orangey-ish one.
Yeah, they're all nice.
Right on. Thank you.
Yeah, they are very cool.
Okay, did I get everybody? Is there anybody who did one while we were talking and we didn't get to see it? Nope.
Can who is the last guy? What's your first name? Sorry, you just show us user somebody or other.
Oh, Luke.
Oh
One-
yeah, Luke.
One of the Lukes. How did you draw it? You said drew it in pen.
Oh, with the pen tool in Illustrator.
So he's talking about this tool here, the pen tool, and you can use the pen tool to draw shapes, and then you can fill them in with color
Ooh. Okay,
like that.
cool.
And we'll have some exercises where we deal with the pen.
Thank you.
Okay, well, great job, you guys. Everything looks, they look really cool, really interesting and fun. So please take the suggestions and consider them, and maybe make another draft of it that we could look at. By going through that process of, showing it to people, getting suggestions, making changes, hopefully that you'll strengthen the design and they'll really start to pop out. So I think we're going to go ahead and take a break. We've been going on for a while now, so why don't you guys go ahead and take a 15-minute break, and then we'll come back.
Thank you.
Greg, I have a question.
Not saying that at all. You manually traced something.
Yeah, that was by hand.
Cool.
Okay, so what I wanted to show you guys was, if you want to search for images that you can use that are copyright free, what you can do is you can click on images here. Oh, I'm sorry, let me go back. Go to, let me see what my options are. I need to get into the advanced search here.
Because yesterday we did something unsplashed or something.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where my, oh, I know, I have to search for something first. So let's just say we're searching for a cow, all right?
Okay.
Now,
I noticed every single time you do demonstrations, you always go for farm animals.
okay. So you're searching for a cow, so it brings back some results, right? So then what you do, click on settings and you go to advanced search, right? And then you scroll down and see where it says usage rights.
Oh.
Right here. You can click on this and you can say free to share, free to use, or even free to use or share even commercially, or free to share or modify even commercially, right? Okay, and then you redo your search, and now everything that comes up is something that you can use for free because it's copyright free. So all these cows, right?
Okay, so just regular Google, do a search. So I'm going to type in chicken instead of cow.
Right.
And then where did you click to get advanced?
Click on where it says settings, right here.
Oh, where?
Right
I think
here.
it's off your, something's blocking it. Hold on, let me move my, I've got something in front of your window. Hold on. Okay, so click on settings where?
Click on settings right here.
Hold on, my, sorry, not working. Oh, your window's totally gone. Is it the gearbox?
No, it's underneath the search bar, underneath the.
Oh, sorry. I couldn't find your, I couldn't track your mouse. Okay, so click there and that's where this menu is. Okay.
And then go to
Got you.
Okay. And that's a great way to find stuff. Okay.
And that's just for images?
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to find drawings or images or anything that you want to use that's copyright free.
When I went on settings, I don't think I have all the, I don't have the same, I hate to say it, but I don't think I see anything about images. I see Haiti and Indonesia and Togo.
Okay, well, I tell you what, I'm going to move on, but why don't you make a note to yourself to just do a search on how to do a copyright-free image search on Google, and they'll tell you how. Okay. So what I wanted to move on to was I wanted to show you guys the next project we're going to work on. For those of you, I know some of you have finished the Star Party and the Discovery series. Those of you who haven't finished those, please continue to work on those. But the next project we're going to work on is on the class website. It's where it says Learn New Skills with Illustrator Part 1 and Part 2. Now, I'm going to go ahead and click on this Part 1, and that's going to bring up a file here in Adobe Acrobat. Now, in Adobe Acrobat, we have this thing. Let me make sure that this is the correct file that I brought up here. Illustrator Part 1. Okay. So it's not the flower thing. It's actually this thing called Big Tire Sale, right? Now, what you're going to do, this exercise has two parts to it. The first part is to make this flyer here, which is called the Big Tire Sale, which uses gradients. So we started to talk about gradients a little bit, but we'll talk about them some more. It also uses some drop shadows. You can see the drop shadows back here behind the stars. Using several different gradients in here, using gradients in the center part of the tire, the hubcap, using gradients in the tire itself, in the Big Tire Sale, and so on and so forth. And even this background is like a big gradient, right? Now, so this is what you're going to produce, and of course, this gives you all the steps for producing it, right? But mostly what we're going to do is we're going to talk about gradients. We'll look at align and distribute, and we'll look at drop shadows. Okay, so let me go ahead and I'm going to bring up this flyer over on the right side of my screen, and then on the left side in Illustrator, I'm going to start making some of this, and you guys can follow along if you want. And you can ask questions if you have them.
Bless you.
You can learn how to.
Bless you.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to shrink everything up so we can see a lot of what's going on here. Okay. So over here in Illustrator, and then over here, I've got the Big Tire Sale. All right. So first thing is, at the very top here, you've got a rounded rectangle that has a gradient in it, right? So let's work on making one of those. So find your shape tool over here on the left-hand side, click on it, hold your mouse down, and then come over to the rounded rectangle tool. Okay? Now, you can see that it's filled with a gradient, but it has a black stroke, right? Well, we can start out by just making a black and white rounded rectangle. So in order to reset the colors...
Teacher? I have totally lost your screen. I'm trying really hard to get back to where you are. I apologize, you guys. I cannot see this. I'm afraid I'm going to shut myself out of this meeting, but we'll see. Yeah.
Hey, Greg.
Yeah.
I don't see a rounded rectangle tool.
Click. Okay, you don't see the rounded rectangle? Okay. Come all the way down to the bottom of your screen where the three dots are on the left-hand side where it says Edit Toolbar.
I see it.
Click on that.
I clicked on the three dots and I see the rounded rectangle tool.
Okay, can you click on that and drag it over to your toolbar?
Oh, okay. Fix it.
Okay.
I can see now too, sorry.
Okay, so what you need to do, Mia, I'm going to go ahead and mute you. If you have a question, you can just type it into the window here, okay?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, so if you want to go down to the lower left-hand corner here of your toolbar and click on the little black and white icon, that will set the default colors to black and white. Now you can go up here and you can click on your rounded rectangle, and you can click and you can drag out a rectangle at the top of your screen. Now, in the instructions, they may tell you to make it a certain size, you know, and you can go ahead and do that if you want. You can turn on your rulers. You do Command R or Control R on the PC, and that will turn your rulers on. Now remember, your rulers are probably going to show points and picas, which is the default. If you want to change that on a Macintosh, you go under Illustrator Preferences, go to Units, and change this top number from general points to inches, and hit OK. On the PC, I believe you just hit Edit and then Preferences. Okay, but now we can see the numbers, and it's 8.5 inches at the top, 11 inches on the side. And of course, you know, if you need to make this a specific size, you can start it right at the edge of the paper and resize it until it gets, you know, to whatever size you need. Now, another thing that's valuable about having the rulers up is that you can also drag guidelines onto your page, and guidelines will help you with centering, okay? So for example, this page is 8.5 inches wide, which means 4¼ inches is halfway across. So if you click on the ruler here with your black arrow tool and hold your mouse down and drag it across the screen, you can come down here, you can find 4.5 and then go over 2 notches to 4¼ and you can let go. And that's going to produce the center line that you want to be able to go ahead and take all your objects and line them up to the center of the page. So like, you know, we probably want that big rounded rectangle to be centered. You know, maybe we want it to come a little closer to the edges like this. So you can drag it out and then you can make sure that that dot is in the center. Okay, now you guys, if I'm going too fast or you have a question or something like that, go ahead and type something in the chat box. If you have a question, I'll try and answer it. Now, one of the things that we notice about this design over here is that the stroke is very thick on this rounded rectangle. So we can take our rounded rectangle, we can go up to the top where it says the word stroke, and we can click the up arrow to thicken the stroke. Now, I'm not looking at the instructions, so I don't know exactly how thick they want it to be. But if I wanted to make it like 6 points thick, I could do that, right? Now, the next thing that we have to deal with is the color, all right? Clearly, this rectangle is filled with a gradient. And what we're going to do is we're just going to fill it with a random gradient, and then we're going to change the colors on it. Now, as I said a little bit earlier, one of the easiest ways to get a random gradient is to go to the top left of your screen and click on this little arrow next to this fill color. You'll see a bunch of regular fill colors here, but you'll also see gradients. And I'm probably going to use this second one from the left, which is the orange and yellow gradient, right? And there we go. We've got the orange and yellow gradient filling the box, right? Now, there's a couple issues here. First of all, it's not the right colors. The red is okay, but it looks like it just goes from kind of a red to a pink, not orange and yellow to red, right? So we're going to have to change those colors. So the next thing we can do to change the colors, and let's not worry about the direction so much right now, we'll change that in a second, is we can open up the gradient panel. And to do that, what you do is you click on your window drop-down menu, and then you come over here to the right and you click on the word gradient, and up pops your little gradient palette. Now, any of these palettes that pop up like this, you can grab them and you can drag them right out over here on top of your other palette, and when it turns blue like this, it'll snap in place there. And that's kind of nice because then it's just sitting there, and whenever you click on it, it will open, and you can click these little arrows to close it up, right? Now, one of the things we notice here is that this gradient has a whole bunch of colors: light yellow, dark yellow, orange, dark orange, red, right? Now, on this little gradient bar here, you can add colors just by clicking, and it will add a new color chip, which you can then double click to change the color. But you can also remove colors by clicking on the color points and just dragging them straight down, okay? So if I click on one of these color points and drag it straight down, it's going to remove it, right? So what I want to do for this gradient is I basically want to get rid of everything except for the end two colors, right? So I'm going to grab this one and drag it straight down, grab this one and drag it straight down, right? And grab this one and drag it straight down, okay? So now I've got two colors, the end ones, the red to the yellow. Now I want to change my yellow so that it becomes kind of a pinky color. So I double click on this gradient circle here. I take my mouse and I run it over this color bar here until I find the pink, and then I click. And now I've got kind of a pink color there. Now I could mix this color. I could take these little gradient sliders here and mix the color until it looks, you know, a little bit more like this color over here. But I'm going to be pretty happy with what that is right now, so I'm just going to leave that alone. Now, I can click back on the gradient panel to close that panel that popped up. In here, I can change the type of gradient I have. I can have the linear gradient or the radial gradient, right? Right now, we want the linear gradient, but one of the problems is, or the last remaining issue we have with this gradient is that this gradient is going horizontal. In other words, the pink is on the left side and the red is on the right side, and then they're kind of changing horizontally. But if you look at the big tire sale, the gradient is vertical. It's going from pink on the bottom to red on the top. So what we need to do is we need to change the direction of the gradient so that it is you know, going the way we want. Now, let's see what we can do here. Right now we have the angle of the gradient at 0. Let's see what happens if we type in 90 degrees, right? And when you do that, it changes it to what we want. So in other words, the gradient, which was a horizontal gradient, was going straight across, but then we said, okay, take the gradient and shift it so that it's 90 degrees from where it is right now, and it turned the horizontal gradient into a vertical gradient, okay? So that's how you can produce that first object there, which is the rounded rectangle. Okay, next we've got some text here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create a text box, right? Now I like to go back to black and white whenever I make a new object because it's a good sort of starting point. So I go back down to these little color chips down at the bottom, and I click the tiny one on top, the black and white one, and that resets my colors to a white fill with a black stroke. Now I can click on the type tool, which is up here at the top. I can click and drag out a big marquee, and you can see that some text comes in there, and the text automatically fills in as black, which is not a problem on a white background, right? Now what I want to do is I want to type big tire sale. So, and I want it to all be caps. So I'm going to click my caps lock key. I'm going to type big tire sale. It doesn't matter what font it is right now. We just have to type something on there. And then we have to go ahead and we have to make this larger. So I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to open up what's called my character palette here. And the character palette shows us all of the interesting information about this text. So, you know, now I can bring it up to a much larger number. I can try 72, but that doesn't look like it's enough. So I can put in 100, you know, and that was probably too much. Let's see, let's try 90. Looks like I screwed up there. It went away. So I'm going to do Command Z a couple times. Yeah, looks like 100 was too big because you see how you can't even see the word sale. So I can click this down arrow here until my word sale comes back, right? So it looks like 88 was about, you know, what worked for me, right? So now I have this object, the text object, it says big tire sale, right? I can click on my black arrow tool and I can move that into the center of my box. If I have some extra space here, I can drag that bottom box up. And now what I want to do is I want to change it to the proper font. I want to change it to the proper color, and I want to put a drop shot on it. So first thing that's easiest to do is the color. It's currently black. And the fill, if I click on this drop-down menu right here, that's the fill chip. I can change it to white. Notice that there's one up here at the top and one down at the bottom that you can click on to make your changes. There's also something over here called a color palette, and you can use that to quickly make color changes too. Okay, so now I've got my color. I've got it, a size that approximately fits in there. Now I'm probably going to go to my document here and try and read some of the instructions so that I get a little closer to what it actually is, right? So let's see. It says type big in impact, and then separately. Okay, let's see. Let me go up here. Blah blah blah. I got to go up to where it tells me headline. Okay, here we go. Type in big tire sale using the font impact. Stretch to fill red rectangle per layout. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to use a font called impact. So we're going to highlight that. We're going to open up our character palette and we're going to do a search. We can highlight the name of the text and type in the word impact, right? Now, let me go ahead and hit enter, and there we go. So it goes ahead and it fills it in with the words big tire sale. Now, I'll pause here for a second. You guys may have seen the little notice that came up on my screen telling me that Adobe has a bunch of fonts, right? Well, it's possible that the notice came up on your screen and said, hey, you don't have this font on your computer, but Adobe can get it for you. If that's the case, you can actually just follow the prompts that Adobe gives you, and they'll actually let you download the font to your computer. But if you don't have it right now, just so we can keep going forward, just pick Arial Bold or something like that. It won't look exactly like this, and we can keep moving forward, and then you can download Impact later on. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that this thing is centered in this box. So we can do kind of what I was showing Mia earlier, which is grab the left-hand handle of your text box and drag it over to the side of your rounded rectangle. Grab the right side of your text box and drag it to the right side of your rectangle. And then come up here to the top and click on this Align Center button, okay? That is going to center your box, center your text inside of your box, right? Now, the next thing that they tell us to do here is they tell us to stretch it to fill the red rectangle. Now, what they mean is they want you to distort the vertical shape of this object so that it fills the rectangle, right? Now, I still have a little room on the right and the left for where I could increase my font size. So if I go look at, and it's always a good idea to look at the original, what they're trying to get you to do. If I look at the original here, I can see that this rounded rectangle is actually much bigger on their document than it is on mine. So I can make mine bigger. Now, of course, when you guys are doing this exercise, you'll want to read the instructions. They say make a rounded rectangle that's 7 inches by 3 inches with a radius corner, right? Now, what I can do is I can measure this thing. I can click on it, and I can drag it over to the edge here. And they said they want it 7 inches wide, so I can drag this down until this line here is 7 inches. And they want it 3 inches high, right? So I can drag this up to the corner and drag this up until I hit about 3 inches. Okay, and then that is the correct shape and size for my rectangle. And then I can grab my text and put it back over this, remembering to put this center point right on the center line, okay? Now, a couple other things. They say they want you to give it a 0.5 radius corner, right? And when you make a rounded rectangle, you can either drag it out or you can just click on the object shape and click once on the screen. Now, if you do that, that's going to allow you to put in all the settings at once, right? And so this is a really easy way to make it so it's exactly what they want you to do. So you could put in the 7 inches wide, you could put in the 3 inches height, and then you could put in the radius, which is the 0.5 radius corner, right? And if you do it that way,
Edit it when you already make one.
did I already make one?
No, if you already make one, is there a way to prompt this thing out to reset it?
Okay, that's an excellent question.
A new one.
I've never been asked that question, so I don't know. I'll have to look into it.
Oh, okay, no worries.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Uh, let me go ahead and make this. Okay, and there we go. There it is. It's made.
You guys, when I clicked to redrag my rounded rectangle, it was showing me the dimensions.
Well, yeah, it'll show you the dimensions when you make it, but he's asking if there's any way to edit it after it's in that little box. So let me.
Well, I was editing mine. I don't know. I'll mute me.
It looks like if you go to transform, it has rectangle properties. That might be something. I'm seeing the dimensions in there.
Oh yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so that's the answer. If you open up your transform palette, you can change the width and the height right in here. And it looks like you can even change the rounding radius of the corners. So that's great. Okay, excellent. So now you've got your rounded rectangle, which is exactly the size and shape that they want. You can position it where they tell you to position it. I think I put mine in front of my text, so I'm going to send it to the back. Okay, and then you go ahead and you make your text, the size and shape that they want it. Let's see, big tire sale. Let's see, type in big tire sale using the font impact, stretch to fill red rectangle per layout. So what they want you to do at this point is they want you to use the distort text vertically option to make it look like their layout. Okay, so if you look at this, that text is like really, it's like 250, 300% what it normally is. So where you go to find that is under your character palette. Down here on the left-hand side, there's something called vertical scale. And if you click on this drop-down menu and change it to 200, you see right away that it's going to go ahead and stretch that out so that it's very big. In fact, I think 200 might be about what it is. It looks pretty similar to what's going on over here. So try 200, that'll probably work for you guys. And then the next step would be to go ahead and put in the drop shadow. Now remember that the drop shadow is located under Effects at the top. So you would go Effect, Stylize, and then Drop Shadow. And what it's going to do, it's going to put in your drop shadow there. Now they may tell you specifics of your drop shadow. Let's see. Okay, they don't tell me the specifics here, so maybe later on they go into the drop shadow. But regardless, you can make your drop shadow, and then you can just go ahead and you can increase the amount of spacing both horizontally and vertically, and also the darkness and the blurriness, so that you approach this kind of look. And you see that mine looks like it's about the right width and height away from the text, but it's too crisp, and theirs is very blurry. So all I have to do, notice that my blur is set to 0. So I would just have to upgrade this by clicking on this 0 here and sending it up. Now, when I go to the first click, it's just 0.125. It's already too blurry and you can't even see it. So if I change it, instead of 0.125, if I change it to 0.025, you can see that now I can see that, right? Now, there's a couple other things I notice here. My blur could probably get a little closer to my text. Now, as Luke asked the other day, how do you edit a shadow after you've created it? Well, that's in the appearance panel. So you open up the appearance panel and you click on the word drop shadow, and now you can make some changes. So if I want to change my offset, I can change it to maybe let's see, I don't want to make a bigger number here. Let's see, 0.1, let's see, how about 0.5? Let's see how that looks. Okay, so it's not perfect, but it's getting a little closer to what we want. And so anyway, you can play with that. get the kind of drop shadow that you think is appropriate. You can always go back into appearance and make it darker if you want. Yeah, here my opacity is only 15%, and I want it to be a lot darker than that. So I'll change this to like 50%, so that I can see it a lot better. Okay, so play with your drop shadow, get the look and the feel that you want. Try as best you can to match what you see here, and that will be helpful to you, because it won't be the last time that you're making a graphic where you're trying to match something somebody else did. That's really valuable sometimes. Okay, another thing, it looks like the actual rounded rectangle has a drop shadow. You can see that happening back here. So you can click on the rounded rectangle and go up to Effects and do Stylize Drop Shadow again. And of course, you can change that drop shadow until you get the look and the feel that you want. I'm going to go ahead and just click OK, because we're just trying to do sort of a general overview of the different things you need to know to do this project. So I'm just going to stop there, but you guys can mess with that as much as you want, right? Now, another thing that we notice here is that the background of this is a gradient. It's actually a rounded rectangle that is a light blue to dark blue gradient, right? Now, we can make that the same way that we made the other one. We can look and see if they have a specific number that they want us to use. And it looks like, yeah, sure enough, on point 2 here, they say create a new layer and name it background. Using the rectangle tool, make a rounded corners rectangle 8 by 10.5 inches, center to artboard, apply a blue linear gradient, light blue at the top to darker blue at the bottom. Okay, so let's do that. So first of all, they want us to make another layer. So we'll come over here to our layers palette and we'll click on layers and open it up. And then we'll come down to the bottom. Let me go ahead and move this over a little bit so you can see this. I gotta drag this off so you can see it. Close that up. Okay, so if we want to make a new layer, we just come down here to the bottom of our layers palette and click on the create new layer icon. Okay, and then they want us to name this layer background. Now, theoretically, this layer would be below the other one, so we're going to grab it and drag it down below the layer where we have our artwork, and we can name this whatever we want. They may give us specific information. Well, they do actually. They have a layer here which they call headline. So we'll name that one headline that we put the headline on, and we'll name this other one background, right? Now in the background layer, they want us to make a rounded rectangle that is 8 by 10.5 inches, and they want us to center it to the artboard. So let's see how we would do that. So first of all, we know we can make a rounded rectangle by clicking on the rounded rectangle tool and clicking once on the paint board here, the artboard. Now they want the width of that to be, let's see, I just said it, but I have to look it up again. 8 inches wide, and then you can hit your tab key, and you could go 10.5 high. Now for corner radius, we can just leave the radius that's in there, 0.5 inches, and hit OK. All right, now in this case, it made a rounded rectangle that looks a lot like the one we just had because it's all the same settings, right? And that's fine. We just have to make changes to it so that it looks like the other one. So the first thing that we want to do is they want us to center it to the artboard. Okay, so that has to do with our alignment functions, right? So we can close up our layers palette here, and we can go down to the one which is called align, right? Now, we talked a little bit about the align to function the other day. We figured out together how to align to a specific object. But you can click on this align to, and then you can change it to align to artboard. And what that means is it's going to align to your document, which is the 8.5 by 11 sheet here. So if we want to align this thing exactly in the center, horizontally and vertically, all we have to do is come up here and click on the horizontal align center, which is this bad boy right here. That's going to align it horizontally. Then we come over here, and the center one here is the vertical align. We click on that, and that's going to align it vertically. right? So now that object is exactly where we want it to be. Now we have to make some changes to it so that it looks like the document here, which means we want to make it look like it's a blue gradient without any stroke on it. So the first thing we can do is get rid of the stroke. So we can click on this, come over to our color chips at the bottom of the toolbox and click on the stroke box to bring that to the front. Then we could come down underneath that and hit the None button, and that's going to get rid of the stroke for us. So we're good there. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to change the gradient so it goes from a light blue to a dark blue. The easiest way to do that, since we already have a gradient, is open up the gradient palette over here. Now in the gradient palette, you're going to see it going from a pink to a red, because that's what we were using before. But you're not going to see any little dots that you can play with. So if we just click once on the gradient palette here, this little rainbow color thing, it's going to show us the dots, right? Now, we can see that this red color is at the top, and that's what we want to be light blue. So all we have to do is double click on the red color, select a light blue, and then double click on the pink color, which is down here. We want that to be a dark blue. Double click on the pink color, choose a dark blue, and then click back here and fill that with that gradient, right? Now, once again, it filled it with a horizontal gradient. So all we have to do at that point is click on our gradient chip there and change the angle to 90 degrees, okay? Now, granted, my colors are not the exact same blues that theirs are, but you could go in and you could mess with these colors until you get sort of it looks like more of a CMYK blue as opposed to an RGB blue here. But you could play with that, and we're not going to spend time on that right now because that's something you guys can fiddle with on your own. Okay, but now we've got those two elements. Now, things like creating the stars, stars are created by virtue of the star tool here. You can fill your stars with kind of a gold color. And then you can, oops, sorry, I was still on my gradient. You have to make sure to click on your black arrow tool and click in the gray area before you make a new object, or else you're going to color it the same way you did your other one. So now I've clicked in the gray area to deselect that. I'm double clicking on the fill, choosing a gold color, click on the star tool, and then just, I can hold my shift key down and drag out my star, and that will make my star straight up and down. Now it's still filling with a gradient. I can click my color chip here and just fill it with a color. I just went down to the bottom here and clicked on this bottom color, but you could also go up here and select a gold color. And then of course we have to click on the stroke and we have to give it a little black stroke, right? Now in the instructions they may tell you, exactly what size to make your star, but we'll just go ahead and make a random star here. We'll add a drop shadow to it because everything here seems to have a drop shadow, and so on and so forth. Now, one of the things that they're going to want you to do is make multiples of this object, the star, right? Once again, one of the easiest ways to do that is click on your star, hold down your Option key on a Mac or the Alt key on a PC, click on the star, and then as you start to drag the star to the right, put your Shift key down with your other finger. And what that will do is it'll make the star drag out into a straight line, right? And what you do is grab the star and drag it over about how much you think you want it to go, right? Now, after you've done that, once again, you hold down your Alt key, you click on it, you hold down the Shift key as you move it, it makes a copy. Once you've done that, do Command D, D as in dog, to do it again, right? I'll go ahead and redo it so you guys can see it. So I'm gonna hold down my Alt key, click on this, hold down my Shift key as I start moving it, and then let go. Now then, if you hold down the Command key or the Alt or the Windows key, Control key, and do D as in dog, it will repeat that command, and you can make all your little stars there. Okay. Now let's say for the sake of argument that that you made these stars and for some reason they got a little jacked up. They weren't straight. There wasn't the same amount of space between them, right? That's where you can use your align tool. That's where the align tool comes into play. So what you can do is open up your align function here. And now, since we're going to be grabbing all these stars, this would be a good time to lock the background layer so that we don't accidentally grab that, right? Since it's its own layer. So we can open up the layers palette right here. You see this layer, which is called background. Notice that I unfortunately drew all my stars on the background layer. You can see, because when I click on the stars, you can see that they're surrounded by a red color, and this little red dot comes here, and there's a red line there. Well, I don't really want my stars to be on the background layer because I want to lock my background layer. So one thing that I can do is I can click off in the gray area here and draw a marquee around all my stars. Now that's also going to grab the blue background area, right? And if I want to deselect the blue background area, I can just hold down my shift key and click on the blue background, okay? So once again, what I did was I took my arrow tool and I dragged a marquee over all the stars. It got the background. I held my shift key down and I clicked on the background to deselect it, right? Now that all my stars are selected, I can click on this little red chip here on the background layer and move it up. And what it does, you see now it's turned blue. It's taken all the stars and put them on the headline layer, okay? Which is where I want them, because now I can click on my little empty space here next to the eyeball and it'll make a lock icon, and I can lock that background layer so that now I can select stars all day and it will never select the background, right? Okay, so now that I've effectively moved those objects, the stars, to a layer where I can deal with them and lock the background so I don't have interference, now I can play with my align function, right? So I have all the stars selected. The first thing I might want to do is line them all up at the top, and that one's easy. We come over here and we look for the icon that looks like what you want to do. In this case, vertical align top. So I click on that, and sure enough, it lines them all up at the top, right? Now the next thing we want to do is we want to do something called distribute spacing, which puts an even amount of spacing between all the stars. And the easiest one to use is this one right down here, horizontal distribute space. If you look at my stars right now, they're in a pretty bad shape. But when I click on a horizontal distribute space, what it does is it measures the space between each one of those stars, and it takes an average of that measurement and puts it in between all of them. So now we click this, and boom, all my stars are, perfectly spaced and look really good. Okay. So now one thing I want to mention to you guys, some of you guys, I may be going too fast for some of you guys. Some of you guys might have been distracted and doing something else. You might have missed something. Remember that I'm recording these sessions, and then I put the recordings up after they process on YouTube. So if you need to come back later and watch this, you can. Okay, so let's see what else we need to deal with here on this. At the very bottom of your document here, you can see that you're going to be making little tires, which you're going to copy and distribute using the align tool, just like you did the star, right? But these little tires are going to be little versions of this big tire here. Now everything else I think you can probably do. You can make this big text here and put a white stroke around it. You can put the drop shadow, that's very similar to this. Certainly you can put this text in, this text down here you can do. So let's go ahead and look at how the tire was made, and then I'll give you guys some time to work on this and or finish off your Discovery Series logo and the stargazing party. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is make this tire here. You can follow the instructions that they tell you on the sheet, and I don't know what they are right now, but I'm just going to do it kind of my own way, and you can do it whichever way you want. I'm going to click on layers here, and just for grins, I'm going to make a new layer called tire, because sometimes it's really helpful to make objects on their own layer so you can deal with them independently. Now the other thing I'm going to do is lock the headline layer here so that basically I can't accidentally grab anything and move it, and that's really helpful, right? Okay, now on my tire layer, I want to make this tire here. I should probably pay attention to how big they make it. Let's see, we do logo, so now I got to find the tire. La 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 la. Okay, here we go. Okay, create a new layer, name it tire. This time you'll have to drag the layer above the other layers so that the tire layer will be on top of the other elements. Okay, make a circle 3 inches in diameter. Okay, that's pretty easy to do. We go over here to our selection tools, our toolbox. We click on the shapes and we go to the ellipse tool. We click once on the screen and they tell us how big they want us to make it. We want it to be a circle, which means it's going to be 3 inches by 3 inches. And by the way, you can just put IN in for inches, right? We're going to go ahead and hit return, and that's going to make our circle. We can grab that and we can align it, you know, visually, manually to the center of the screen via our guideline. And then it says you want to fill it with a light gray, black to dark gray radial gradient. Okay, fill with a light gray to black to dark gray. Okay, all right, so if we go up here to our fill colors here, we can see that there is a white to black gradient, and we can start by filling it with that, right? Now, however, they said that they want it to be light gray to black to dark gray, okay? So that means we have to adjust our gradient, which is basically just going from white to black, right? In order to do that, we would open up our gradients panel here. We would click on this object and click once on the gradient here. And it looks like I've got an old gradient showing here, and it looks like, unfortunately, that old gradient ended up in the stroke. So I can click the no box here to get rid of that. And then when I click on my fill color, if I open up the gradient option again, now I get my black and white gradient showing up. Okay. All right. All right, so I've got a question here. It says, my layer says isolation mode does not allow me to add a new layer. Another question is adding drop shadow. When I go stylize, it only has glowing edges. Okay, I can answer both those questions. So first of all, sometimes if you accidentally double click on an object, it takes you into isolation mode. Like if I double click on this circle here, you'll notice that everything else gets grayed out, and at the top there's a little gray bar. Now this means you're in isolation mode. In order to get out of isolation mode, click this little arrow at the top left until you end up back at the main document where nothing is grayed out. Then you can add layers because you're no longer in isolation mode. Okay, so that's the answer to the first question. Now the answer to the second question is, when you use stylize, it gives you glowing edges instead of drop shadows, right? The reason that's happening is because there's actually two stylize options in the effects dropdown, and you're using the bottom one instead of the top one. So in other words, if I go here and I go effect, the one that I want to use is stylize drop shadow, right? And you can see that that, in fact, does produce a drop shadow, right? However, if you look carefully, you'll notice that there's another stylize down here that just has glowing edges. That's the one at the very bottom. But if you go to the one at the top, that's the one that has the drop shadow in it, okay? So let's see, did that work? Yi, did that answer your questions? Okay.
Yeah, you did.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Okay. So now let's go back to this object here, this tire that we're making, and let's notice that we want to change the gradient to what they told us: light gray to black to dark gray. Okay. So right now we've got white to black. All right. So the first thing we got to do is we got to change this white to a light gray. So the easiest way to do that is double click on it, and what you can do is grab this bottom slider here, which is the black to white, and drag that over until it's no longer white. Drag it over until it's a light gray, okay? So that's going to give us our first color, which is light gray, right? Secondly, they want the center color to be black. What we can do is we can click this little gradient slider here, take your mouse and click it right underneath the center of that gradient slider, and it makes a brand new dot, right? We can double click on that dot, and we can grab the slider all the way over to the right, drag it, and that's going to make that center color black. Okay, that's what we want. We can click on the gradient panel to go back. And then finally, we want to click on this very last, double click on this very last color chip, and then this one they want it to be a dark gray. So we're going to take that and we're going to make that a dark gray. All right. Now, so far we've got the three colors they wanted, but we don't have the shape they want. They don't want a linear gradient, they want a radial gradient. So the way we go from linear to radial is up here at the top of the gradient palette. The first one is linear, the second one is radial. So if we click on that, then we end up with the gradient that they're talking about. Now, if this doesn't look exactly the way we want, we can move these little sliders here at the top, these little diamond shapes, until we get, you know, the preferred look and feel that we want for this tire, right? Now, one thing that's really valuable, and I would recommend you guys do this, is, you know, have your PDF that you're trying to make up on your screen. Take one half of your screen and have Illustrator take the other half of your screen, and then you can adjust things. Now, my goal here is to make the tire look like this tire over here. So that means, you know, I want, let's see, it means I probably want the center light area to go out even further.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
You know that little diamond that was in the middle and you're supposed to make a new dot under it by clicking?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to, I don't know what I'm doing, but it just makes my whole thing black. I just sort of, am I not clicking in the right place? Where did you click to make that happen?
Okay, are you watching my screen?
Yep.
Okay, you just take your mouse and you just click directly underneath the rectangle.
Oh, I was on the bar. I was under it, but on the bar. Okay, thanks.
All right, so what I'm doing at this point is I'm trying, you know, you can see the colors over here. There's a light gray, and then a black, and then a dark gray. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to adjust both, you know, where these circles are. Oops, I made an extra one. I'm trying to adjust where these circles are and where these diamonds are so that I can get something that looks kind of like what's over here, right? So, you know, it might take a little messing around with to get the look and feel that you want. I'll play with it for a little while, but then I'll move on to something else because, you know, obviously this is something you guys can do on your own time. So, you know, I'll just, let me see. Let me move this black over here. I need a lot more gray, and I need it to be a lot more fuzzy than it is. It's not being fuzzy enough. So that's kind of a problem for me. Okay. So anyway, but I could mess with this stuff all day. I know you guys could too. So I'll just stop there. Once again, I'm just showing you the basics, and you guys can mess with this as much as you want. Okay, so we've got the three gradients in there. We've got our tire. Let's see what's next. Obviously, what's next is to put the hubcaps in. So let's see what that is. And it looks like the hubcaps are two circles that have the same gradient, but one is turned upside down, right? You know, this gradient that's in the very middle, it looks like the second circle is just a bigger version of that, but it's turned upside down, so the dark blue's up here instead of at the bottom. So if we make one of these, we just have to then make a copy of it and turn it over. So let's see what we're supposed to do next. So, okay, here we go. We just did 6A, and so now we're doing the next part, which is 6B, which is to make our hubcaps. So we're going to click on the black arrow, click in the gray area to deselect everything, and then once again click on the ellipse tool, right? Now it says make another circle 1.75 inches in diameter. So, you know, and once again, I'm going to go back and click on my white and black default reset tool here so that I get a black and white circle. So I'm going to click once, and then I'm going to type in 1.75 IN for inches, hit my tab key, put in 1.75 IN again. Okay, and that's going to give us our circle. Okay, now this is where that that outlines view becomes really handy, right? If you go up to view and you come down to outline, it's going to hide all the gradients, and then it's going to make it easier for you to see that little X, which is in the center of the tire. And now you can grab your hubcap and you can position it so that the X of the hubcap is right over the X of the tire. And now that's going to be centered. And then you can go view and preview. Now also Control Y will, or Command Y will take you into view mode, and Control Y will take you back into preview mode. Okay, so now we've got our hubcap kind of where we want it. Now, they want you to fill this with a white to dark blue to light blue gradient. Okay, so once again, we're going to go to our drop-down menu up here. We're going to pick any kind of gradient we want. I'll just pick this orange to yellow one. Then we're going to open up our gradient palette. And, you know, I picked one with a bunch of different colors, and this one's only going to have 3. So I'm going to click on 2 of the dots and drag them straight down, get rid of them. Now they're saying white to dark blue to light blue. Okay, so I'm going to click on the first color here. I'm going to change that to white by clicking on the white colored chip down here. I'm going to double click on my second color here. And they want dark blue, so I'm going to select a dark blue with my eyedropper tool. And then I'm going to click on the double click on the last color on the right, and they want that to light blue. So then I'm going to select a light blue color here. Okay. Now my colors are not going to be exactly the same as their colors. You can see right now that they're not the same, but that's okay. You can make any changes you want, get it to look as good as you can, get it to look as much like that as you can, right? Now also notice that like they have a lot more white in theirs, and so when I see that, I'm going to grab this little diamond and I'm going to move it to the left, bringing more white into the option here. And also the other thing that I notice is my light blue doesn't have the same character as this dark blue here. So I'm going to see if I can get a light blue that mixes a little more of the dark into it by clicking on the black and dragging it in a little bit. Now, granted, that's going to make my light blue a little darker, but now the gradient looks a little more consistent than it did before. Okay, and let's see. I can also grab this this triangle here, and I can adjust that so that I get a nice looking gradient here. Okay, and then once again, I'm going to change my gradient angle to 90 degrees. So that it goes up and down, right? Now, you'll also notice that this gradient is kind of upside down from theirs in that mine has the white on the bottom and theirs has it on the top, right? So let's see. One way that I could do that, I believe I could do that with the angle as well. And if you click on this drop down here, it gives you all kinds of options, right? So let's see, if I go back to 0, that's what it originally was. And when I put in 90, it put this white at the bottom. I wonder if it'll let me put in negative 90. It does. And so when you put in negative 90, it switches it the other way, and now my white is at the top, right? And so, okay, I've got that the way I want it. Now, clearly this also has a white stroke on it, and mine has a black stroke, so I can click on my stroke color here and change it to white. I'm sure that they tell you in the instructions exactly what stroke to put on there, but I'm going to just, you know, add a couple of points there, so it's up to 3 points. And then clearly the second part of this is to make another one of these, make it a little bigger and turn the gradient upside down, right? So I'm going to go ahead and look into their instructions and see if they give us the size for that second one. Okay, well, it looks like this first one is actually the big one, all right? And so it says make another circle 1.25 inches in diameter, use the same width, blah, 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 but reverse the direction, apply a 2-point white stroke, right? Okay, so this is the big one, which means that my gradient is actually wrong. It's supposed to go the way it originally was. So in other words, if I go back to my gradients and I click on it and I go to my gradient tool, if I change this back to 0, oh, I'm sorry, not 0, 90. Okay, that's correct, because you can see that the big circle here has the white at the bottom and then the dark blue at the top, right? Okay, and so that one is correct. Now what I need to do is I need to make a copy of this, which is 1.25 inches, and then I need to switch the gradient around so that it's flipped the other way. All right, now how do I want to do this? Well, there's several ways you can do this. Since we're making a gradient that's the same as an existing gradient, we could probably just make another circle and then just fill it with that same gradient, right? So if I click again, and this time I go 1.25 inches by 1.25 inches, it's going to make another gradient. It's going to automatically fill it with that information that we had. And if we want to switch the way the gradient is going, once again, we just have to put in a -90. And now the white is at the top, right? And then all we have to do is do Control or Command Y to see the outline view. Now we can grab this circle and put it right on top of that X. By the way, you can do Command or Control semicolon to get rid of that center line if it's in the way. And then Command or Control Y again to see, to go back to the preview mode. Okay, so now we have our tire. I just noticed that this tire that they have has a black stroke around it, so I'm going to click on mine and click on the stroke and add a black stroke and give it a couple points. Now in the instructions, they'll tell you exactly what point size to do and everything, and you guys can do that. Now, once I've made my tire and I've made all the adjustments to everything, I'm happy with it, it's a good idea to drag a marquee around the entire tire and go Object Group. And now that's going to make it so that the tire is one group section so that when you move it, you don't accidentally move just a part of it and screw everything up. So that'll help you when you're doing things like, you know, this tire is actually, you know, it actually gets, you know, ends up somewhere like that on the final document. And so that's a lot easier to do when it's grouped. Now, after you've grouped something, if you want to edit something, you just go Object, Ungroup, and then it becomes individual components again that you can mess with. Okay, so, all right, so I know that was kind of a quick introduction to the different features that we're using in Illustrator to do all of this exercise, but as I said, it's being recorded, so you can go back and watch it if you have questions, or you can ask me questions right now. Is there anybody who has a question about anything that we just did? Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you guys, you know, there's only 15 minutes to the end of class. Go ahead and take the last 15 minutes and work on whatever projects you're on right now. If you're on the zoo project, finish that off. If you're on the tire project, work on that. And if you didn't get a chance to look at what we were doing on the tire project today, you know, go ahead and watch this video after I put it up, and that'll give you the information you need to do this one. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Regarding the, if you see the text big O tire, for that O, is how do you do that?
For the big tire sale?
Can you speak up?
Yeah. On the bottom part, big tire center, big zero tire. That zero, how do you do that?
Okay, good question. So, okay, so let's say that we're just going to add some text in here. I'm just going to go ahead and put in the words big and tire. And because my font is so large right now, it didn't even fit. So I have to go back and change all the character settings. I got to take this and make it back to 100%. And then I got to take the size of the font and make it pretty small, right? Okay, but let's just say for the sake of argument that that is about the size that we want at the bottom there, right? Now, one of the things you're going to need to do is you're going to need to make some space in between the words big and tire. so you can fit that little O in there, right? Now, that O is a completely separate text character, right? So what you would do is you would click on your type tool and you would drag out a new text box and you would make like, you know, a capital O, right? Now that O, you could give it a white fill with a black stroke, and then you could take the black stroke and change it to red. Okay, and so now we've got, you know, a red object here, right? Now, I'm not using, I don't know what font they tell you to use there. It's definitely not Impact, but it doesn't really matter. I'll change it to Arial just for grins, just so that it looks a little different. I could look it up and figure out what font it is, but ooh, Arial's really bad. Maybe I'll look it up real quick, because then we'll get a little closer to where it is. Let's see. Small time. Let's see. Okay, type in big blah blah blah. Cooper Black. Okay, so we're gonna look up Cooper. Oh, we don't have Cooper Black, huh? Okay, well, unfortunately, I don't have the font. I could download it from Adobe, but all right. Anyway, so let's just assume that this is the font, the Cooper Black that they want. Now, what they want us to do is to manipulate that O so that it looks kind of messed up like that one. So let's see what they tell us to do here. They say, type the O using Cooper Black, stretch, size, and position the text to match the layout. Change the fill to black and right with a red stroke. Now, the thing that's going to be the easiest for you in order to stretch and size this is to turn it into an object instead of a font, okay? Right now, it's a font, which means we can add letters, we can subtract letters. But if you click on it and you go up here to where it says type, and you come down here to this thing which says create outlines, okay? What it does now is it turns the font into an image object. And once it's an image object, you can grab these little handles and you can just scale it at the corner and you can angle it. And you
sweet.
get that thing to look however you want, right?
So it turns into a word art.
Yeah.
Okay. I understand now. I thought I have to do some shaping or whatnot. I just realized it's the font type Cooper Black.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I got it now. Thank you.
Okay, other questions? Okay. All right. So why don't you guys take the rest of the period, work on whatever you're working on right now, and then we'll take a look at what you got tomorrow. If you have some time to make changes to your masks, according to some of the suggestions, please do that, and we'll see where you got tomorrow. Okay? All right. So go ahead and work on that stuff, and let me know if you have any questions.
I'm glad that it's a recreation.
What's that?
I'm glad that we have to just do a recreation.
Yeah, you do.